Winning cures everything. Now for your hosts, Gary and Chris.
Welcome in, Winning Cures Everything. That's right, Thursday, March 19th show. We're going to fly through this one. It's even later than usual, and I typically do this later. I'm Gary. I'm your host. If you would, you can follow me on Twitter at GaryWCE. You can follow me on Periscope. That's where you can find the show live every day. We're also streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. If you jump in the chat, you will see it on the video. Of course, we are changing up the layout a little bit, trying to make things look kind of nice. I'm working with the website right now, trying to get it looking different. You'll see a new logo. You'll see all kind of different things. So check it out. Make sure that you check out winningcureseverything.com. We would always appreciate that. All of our picks, previews, podcasts, videos, social media platforms. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter, etc. If you would, share out the show if you like it. Tell your buddies about it. We always appreciate that. We have a good time with this. So share the show out. Leave a nice review. Make sure that you are subscribed on whatever platform you are watching or listening on. And let's go ahead and fire in. First things first, Tunica, Mississippi is the South's premier sports gambling destination. They have got 6 incredible sports books. You can find more information on them over at tunicatravel.com. They're great. They've always treated us well. They will treat you well as well. Let's jump in. First things first, before we discuss all the NFL stuff that's going on, etc., is college football at risk of being lost this season? Now, I know that is a difficult question to even fathom at this point in time, considering it's only March. But remember, we are missing a lot of stuff right now. We are missing spring training. There's the summer workouts, which are voluntary, but you need them, right? Your strength and conditioning time is set up over the spring and summer. You have your spring camps, you have your winter workout, then your spring camp, then your summer workout, and then your fall camp, and then the season, right? So you've got all these different things. Look, Matt Hayes, senior writer, college football writer for SB Nation, he was tweeting out today. Stephen Godfrey, also from Banner Society, they have been talking to college football coaches around the country, and a ton of them are concerned that we may be losing the season. Dennis Dodd did an article over at CBSSports.com, talked to Bronco Mendenhall along with a lot of assistants, etc., and they are discussing the idea of maybe a shortened season because you've got to be able to get in some workouts. The number of injuries that we would have in this sport if there is no conditioning program leading up to a fall camp, a ton of colleges around the country are shutting down in-person classes for the summer. Everything is going to be online. If we get to a point where players cannot come to campus until August 1st, that's a major issue. The retired strength coach from Michigan State said that players need at least, 8 weeks of strength and conditioning leading up to a camp. And even if it is a shortened camp, there's all these NCAA rules, there's all these things that are in place. I don't know how they're going to be able to do it. Bronco Mendenhall brought up a very interesting topic. He said, if we get to this point, could you still have at least an 8-game season? You would lose all of the non-conference games that you've got scheduled and just play your 8 conference games and then see what happens from there. At least we would get something at that point. But it is ridiculous to risk the health of these players that are not being paid anything to go out and just try and rush a season. It's why the NBA starting back almost doesn't make sense because they're all going to be out of game shape. Like you can lay the responsibility on them to stay in shape while they're out right now, while everybody is in self-isolation. But at some point, you've still got to get a camp together. You've still got to get these guys working on the same level. Otherwise, we're not going to have any idea what incoming freshmen are going to be able to do, what the team chemistry is going to be like, etc. You got to condition these players to be able to get into these circumstances without being injured. This is going to be a crazy football season regardless at this point. All the spring and summer stuff basically done. I'm curious. If they move to an 8-game schedule, I think you can still have a college football playoff. You can still do bowl games, teams that go 4-4 or something along those lines. I don't know what you would do. You don't have the non-conference games to be able to get a bunch of 6-6 teams. It's going to be really, really strange. Going to be really strange to see what we can come up with. Let's go ahead and move into topic number 2, and this was the big news of the day. Todd Gurley was released by the Los Angeles Rams, and they got to eat a ton of money here. They made him the highest paid running back in NFL history just 2 years ago. End of last season, 2 seasons ago, their Super Bowl run, he did not play the last 2 regular season games, and his usage went down significantly in the playoffs. He only had 35 yards rushing in the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots, and there was all this talk about an arthritic knee, and he only had like 870 yards rushing this past year. They didn't use him a lot. Their coach, McVay came out and said that he was dumb for not using Gurley more, and Gurley agreed with him. But with them cutting him today, it does free up some salary cap room, but not much. Not much at all. And I'm not sure that it was necessarily the smartest idea, but they had to do something. We talked about this, Chris and I did, forever, all season long, about how the Rams had really screwed up their finances and their salary cap situation, trying to go for that Super Bowl title immediately. Right now, they're trying to rebuild this team and restructure to get ready to go and play in the new SoFi Stadium. But they're in a whole lot of trouble. I mean, they gave way too much money to Brandon Cooks, to Todd Gurley. They made Jared Goff $100-some-odd million guaranteed money quarterback, and that is just ridiculous. They gave Aaron Donald a max deal. Whatever a max deal is for an NFL player, right? They gave him a ton of money, and they don't have any salary cap room to make any more moves, to do anything else. They brought in all these guys. Let's see. We got UVA Hoops that jumps in here. He said Bronco made a good point. That's probably where this thing is headed. 8 to 9 game schedule. It's better than nothing. Agreed. Going back to the first topic, college football, whether we'll lose it or not. An 8-game conference schedule, 9-game conference schedule, whatever it is, that's better than nothing. Because right now we are in a dire situation where these players are not going to be in shape to be able to come in and play yet. So if we can get them in shape and at least have like an 8-game season, I'm all in for that. Just give me college football after this. After losing March Madness, I need my football, period. But back to Todd Gurley. The Rams did this to themselves. They set up a terrible situation by overpaying these guys, and they don't have room to make free agent moves. They don't have room to really make a bunch of trades. They've got Brandon Cooks out on the trade block right now. We'll see what happens with that. But cutting Todd Gurley, it may have been the only thing that they could have done because they can't find a trade partner for him. Nobody wants him. So where does Todd Gurley end up next? Who's to say? At this point, I don't know if he's on the waiver wire. I think he's on the waiver wire. But I don't know if somebody would have to pick up part of his contract or what. Who knows? So we'll keep an eye on the Todd Gurley situation. I haven't dug in deep enough into it, but we did want to touch on it. Topic number 3 here. Matt jumps in. He said, sup. Let's see. UVA Hoops jumped back in. He said, the product on the field would be atrocious without some conditioning. And that goes for all sports. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, the NBA. You got to get these guys back into game shape. Otherwise, this is going to be awful. Like, having games would be better than nothing at this point. But, man, let's see. Matt said that arthritis in his knee is bogus. Okay. I'll tell you this. After he got injured, he didn't look the same. And I don't know if it's arthritis, but Gurley did not look the same whatsoever. Let's talk about Sean Peyton for a minute. Sean Peyton, the first NFL coach to test positive for the coronavirus. I'm sure that he's going to be fine. He's 56. He's in good health. We'll see what happens. But this kind of makes it more real for the NFL bunch, he won't be coming to meetings. They're gonna the Saints, everybody in the NFL is gonna have to stay away from each other. There's a new thing that's out, and I didn't put this in the topic, but we can talk about it. Yeah, Matt said somebody popped Achilles and ACLs if they're not ready at game speed. Yeah, 100%. Sean Peyton testing positive, though. There is a lot of teams are putting a coronavirus clause in these contracts because they can't do team physicals because they cannot meet with players right now. So free agency is a little bit crazy. That's why you haven't seen Tom Brady signed yet. That's why you haven't seen a lot of these things. You haven't seen a ton of this stuff going through yet, becoming official, because they're still working out the language of these deals because they are offering a ton of guaranteed money, but they can't check out the guys medically in person. They've always been able to do that, but because there's no travel, because they're not able to meet with players in person, it is what it is. So Sean Payton testing positive, that's kind of a major deal because this is the first case that we've heard of anybody involved in the NFL actually testing positive. So we'll see what happens from here, but you're going to see this continue to creep its ugly head out there. Players don't want to sign for a $10 million signing bonus on a $30 million deal over 3 years when it could turn into a $20 million over 3 years if they fail a physical in 3 or 4 months, right? So you don't want to sign the deal if it turns into that, but they'll find a way to get this stuff done. We hope Sean Payton's good. We hope everybody's doing well down in New Orleans. I know Louisiana has had quite a significant outbreak with everybody that was going out in New Orleans on Bourbon Street and whatnot over the weekend. Let's move into topic number 4 here. Let's see. Restream jumped in, said, congratulations, you've received 100 messages today with the Restream chat. I don't see 100 messages, but maybe I'm crazy. But thanks, Restream. We appreciate that, of course. Topic number 4, Philly traded for Darius Slay. Think it's a good move. I mean, Philly needed a lot of help in the secondary, and, not much to say about it other than, the Lions did not want to pay him a big extension. Philly signed him up almost immediately, gave him an extension. Now, obviously, it's not official yet. It's not done because, like we just talked about, all the details that come into this coronavirus clause that teams are putting in as far as physicals being done, 3-4 months down the line, that's going to make a lot of players wary. That's going to make a lot of teams wary to sign players, etc. So Slay fits in perfectly with the Eagles, I think. He's a fantastic cornerback. Fantastic. The Eagles really, really got a good deal here. I can't wait to see him suit up for the Eagles. The Eagles, they always make good moves. Always, yeah. UVA Hoops jumps in. Great move. Slay is an elite corner. Absolutely. All right. Topic number 5. NBA teams are shutting down facilities tomorrow. Players, as of now, are allowed to leave the city that the team is in because obviously a lot of them want to go home to their families, but they were not allowed to thanks to the NBA telling them, hey, you got to stay in the city where your team is until we know what's going on. With all these players testing positive and whatnot, I'm okay with them going wherever they need to go so long as they have not been around anybody that has it or they've tested negative or whatever so that they can go be with their families because this is a pretty critical time in our country and people want to be with their families. I get it, right? You obviously want to be with your wife and kids and mom and dad and whoever else. So if you don't live in the city where you play, you want to go home to wherever. Now, players that are from overseas, they can't go back overseas. Obviously, travel bans and whatnot, they weren't going to be able to anyway, but they will not be able to leave and do that. But players that were able to go and at least work out at team facilities and whatnot, they're shutting down the team facilities, the entire NBA, starting tomorrow. And that is going to be a major league issue, I think. Players have got to get back in game shape. They got to be able to stay in shape. Gyms across the country are shutting down. If a guy hasn't built a house that's got a gigantic basketball court in it or a workout room or whatever, I mean, you're in a lot of trouble here. So you can't just ask guys to come back in 30 to 45 days and immediately jump on the court. Like Matt jumped in with earlier, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to have popped Achilles and all sorts of ACLs and everything else. You're going to have guys with a ton of injuries going into the playoffs. So I don't like that, but it is what it is. UVA Hoop said, what are you gambling on these days, Gary? Absolutely nothing. And that's what we're going to talk about right here. If you do want to get your gambling fix in, Vegas has shut down the entire strip. The Mississippi Gaming Commission has shut down every casino and every sports book in the state of Mississippi. Obviously, the offshore books still rolling right along. I don't know enough about whatever soccer league is going on. The Korean Basketball League is popping back up, I think, in the next 2 weeks or something like that. But even still, I don't know enough about these. He said lots of professional cappers are going the soccer route. Not me. I don't know enough about it. I don't know enough about them to go put my money on something that I have not watched, that I haven't paid attention to, that I haven't done research on. But I will tell you this. Bovada, and I don't know if anybody else is doing this, but Bovada is offering for you to bet on the weather. And this is fascinating to me. Absolutely fascinating. Bovada has got weather odds up. What they're doing is like the day before. So today, you can bet on tomorrow's weather in different cities. For example, what will be the maximum temperature in Chicago, Illinois on March 20th? Under 58 degrees is minus 275. Over 58 is plus 200. What will be the maximum temperature in Jacksonville? Over 86 is minus 120. Under 86 is minus 120. They're tossing it out there for you. You know, they've got Phoenix, they got San Antonio, got Vancouver, Houston, L.A., New York, Philly, Toronto. You can go and pay attention and see what's going on, and you can bet on the weather. If you've got to get some action in, like right now, my bankroll is good. I'm saving the bankroll for football, and that's it. Like during the summer, I might bet on a couple of baseball games here and there just to have some fun, but I'm not that addicted to it. It makes it kind of crazy for us. You know, the site, Winning Cures Everything. There's nothing to win right now. We're sitting here trying to figure it out just like everybody else. Hopefully college football comes back. Hopefully the NFL ticks along the way it should. Hopefully camps go along, conditioning programs go along the way that they should, and hopefully we get the end of this NBA season because I would love to see what LeBron and Anthony Davis do in the playoffs. I'd love to see, you know, Kawhi and that bunch with the Clippers. I'd love to see what the Bucks can do. You know, and I'm in Memphis. I want to see if the Grizzlies can make the playoffs or not. Obviously, we're probably going to start back with a couple of games and then the playoffs, which would put the Grizzlies in. I'd love to see that. So that is going to wrap it up for today. Remember, tunicatravel.com. Tunica, Mississippi is the South's premier sports gambling destination. WinningCuresEverything.com is our website. Make sure that you subscribe, share the show out. You guys on YouTube were fantastic today. Thank you for hopping in. We appreciate y'all. We'll be back again tomorrow. Thanks for checking out Winning Cures Everything. If you want to keep up with us, hit subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Visit the website at winningcureseverything.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us at Winning Cures, at Gary WCE, or at Chris B. Giannini on Twitter. Share out the show, leave a nice review, and make sure to comment and tweet at us.